This is a tutorial for the NCTest app. In this tutorial, I'm going to focus on the North Carolina final exam in science. On the day of the test, you will see your name, your student ID number, and your school. You'll also see the name of the test. If any of this information is incorrect, please let your test administrator know before you begin. When the test administrator tells you to begin the test, you'll hit the start button and your test time will begin. All your questions are going to be multiple choice. So you can see there are going to be images that you might have to look at and answer. The tools at the top, you have your flag that you can come back or you can mark this to come back to later by hitting the checkbox or by hitting the flag button. Clicking it once flags it, clicking it twice unflags it. If you want to strike through answer options, you would hit the circle with the X in it to strike through. Notice that just because I striked out 3 answer choices, that does not mean that I've actually answered this question. To get your selection tool, you would unselect or unclick or click a second time the strike button, so then I get my pointer, and then you can select A or select whatever the correct answer is. Notice it is grayed out, and that tells me that I have actually answered that question. You can highlight by clicking on the highlight tool, the highlight marker. How you highlight is you're going to click and drag. If you want to cancel any highlighting or erase any highlighting, I click on the highlighter button with the strike through, and I click and drag to erase. If you want to cancel all highlighting or clear it all, you would hit the highlighter tool with the X, and it cleared all my highlighting. If you want to clear the question, so you want to reset it back to the original form, you can hit the back arrow, and it's saying, are you sure you want to reset your selections? Yes, reset. Now it's back to how I came to it first thing. If you have any questions about any of the icons on the test page, you can click on the question mark and see what all of these tools do. You'll see the navigation buttons as well as the question types. So you can see how you actually answer each question. But hopefully you'll know how to answer each question. You'll know what all the icons mean before you actually are taking the test because you're watching this tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead and just answer the question. To move forward in the test, you'll hit the next button to get to the next question. Notice it tells me what number I am on. So I'm on number 2 of 4 in this tutorial. I'm going to flag this question so that you can see what it looks like when I flag an item. If you want to pause a test, like if you're going to the bathroom or there's a break in the testing session, you would hit the pause button at the bottom of the screen. Notice that it is counting down for you. You cannot be in the pause setting for more than 60 minutes, otherwise you will be locked out and you'll have to come back and start the test over again. If you're ready to go back and test, you'll hit the continue button. I just pressed the next button to go to the next question. If you want to go back a question, you would hit the back button. If you want to go back to the first question of the section, you would hit the first button. And then that takes me back to the first question. If you accidentally click outside the screen on any side, or you try to access an app on your computer, you will get an unexpected exit message. And you do have a timer, so it's okay if it's an accident. You can hit continue. But this will be tracking your time that you are spending outside the test for documentation. If you do exit out of the test, your teacher or your test administrator will have to log you back in, and you will be able to pick up where you left off. So now I've come to the end of my test. I'm at the review screen. Notice it tells me that you have answered 3 out of 4 items and you flagged 1 item. So that gives me a clue that I need to go back and review my questions. So looking at these questions, I've answered 1, 2, and 3. I did not answer number 4. So how I would get back to number 4 to actually answer it is I would click on the number 4 and then I can come back. When I hit the review button, it takes me back to this review screen. Notice that I flagged number 2, so I have a question mark here. I can go back to number 2 and say, okay, I want to change my answer. I can unflag it and then go back to the review screen. You can leave things flagged. It's not going to hurt the test or hurt your performance on the test, I should say. So you can clear it or you can leave the question marks there. Once you're ready to end the test, you'll hit End Test. And then a message will come up that says, are you sure you want to end your test? If you want to cancel and go back to review your questions another time, you can. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and end my test. If you have any questions about the test app or the type of questions that you'll see on this type of assessment, please do not hesitate to ask your teacher. And good luck.